Hello, and welcome back to Funny Friday. Good morning, Jake.
Fun Friday, fantastic Friday, finish Friday. Good to see you gentlemen again.
What's up, gents?
It kind of feels like, like the parents are out of town when Mark goes away, if I have to admit. I think both of us.
He is clearly the adult in the room.
Right.
Although I got to tell you, from the pictures, he's no adult.
No adult this weekend. It looks like they are having a blast. They got to Cabo yesterday. They were welcomed with Clase Azul. They're eating tacos. They're doing tequila tastings. So well earned for the no longer new parents, but a year-old parents, I guess I could say.
And their anniversary and all kinds of stuff. So it is a celebration today. Speaking of celebrations, we will be welcoming Double G, Gregg Goldstein, who what a wonderful human being. We've had a business relationship, a friendship for a really long time. So it's really great. And I believe that today is his first actual podcast. He will verify that. So
it's very hard to believe because I don't know anybody who doesn't know Gregg Goldstein or who doesn't love Gregg Goldstein. True. And it's super cool. Like, I think, the testament of a community is it's not only being talked by the community leaders, and it was cool to go through LinkedIn yesterday, see him post about it. I know Randy Ostrow post about it today, and watching everybody talk about it with us kind of, starting the conversation. So it's super cool. Glad that you guys are all here with us.
If you follow that tree, when Randy posted it, Matt Williams commented on it. And yesterday we were talking about Matt Williams at lunch because we had lunch with Zach Corliss. So, the world is tied together. And Gregg is that 6 degrees of separation. So I'm excited to have him. But because it's, Friday and funny, I want to share a couple of funny things. This is an email that I received the other day. Good day. Do you need a rubber key ring now? Gregg will get to comment on this is shitty marketing. This is not how you get it done in our world. So our price is better than this.
That was a nice smiley face at the end, at least, I guess, right? Like, I don't.
What would make that person think that I'm in the market for rubber key ring? So.
I don't know. Listen, it's an old style marketing. I know you posted a video of cold calling is dead. Stop sending those emails and nobody responds to them. If you do, you're probably an idiot both ways. So just straight up.
Yeah. I mean, I had dinner last night with Jerry and one of the other consultants that works with Bank United, and we were bullshitting. And he was like, I go, nobody answers their phone. So what the hell is cold calling? It's like you're jumping into a dead end. Anyway, for those that believe in the alignment of the stars and the moons and whatever, today is officially the start of Mercury in retrograde. And wouldn't you know that our friends at Wendy's have created a Mercury menu, which will have special pricing for the whole time that people are bouncing off the walls. Now, here's my take on it. I believe if you eat Wendy's, you deserve everything that you get. Right? So.
I like Wendy's. I'm a Wendy's enthusiast. Like the 4 for $4 was the go-to for a very long time.
Baconator.
Baconator at the Asiago chicken bacon ranch.
No.
Don't
Wendy's,
they have like amazing chili too?
No. Yeah, Wendy's hands down the Frosty. Like, yeah.
Shay, you're looking great. You've lost a lot of weight. Let's not.
Shay is down 10 pounds, guys. If you didn't know, he's looking great. He's on the keto diet.
I had Chipotle yesterday, and kind of it was like, it was not good.
Yeah, nice.
I was like, I can't do it.
I like Chipotle. So anyway, finally, to close this open. By the way, NASA refutes the fact that there is such a thing as Mercury in retrograde. They say it's complete bullshit. So just if you're out there blaming Mercury in retrograde.
Before we go any further, can I give a shout out to Matt DiGregorio for for his post about talking to Locked In about personal branding and talking about his journey. It's been really cool kind of watching from the sidelines, watch him build his personal brand on LinkedIn, him go through that journey, and then him being able to kind of tell the story to his compadres and his teammates, and watching them kind of, give their feedback on already using some of the techniques and tactics. So just a huge shout out to him for kind of his journey, hopping in, embracing it, and now sharing the gospel.
I'm glad you did, because I thought for me it was a little too self-serving.
Yeah, right.
But he didn't only learn it for him. He learned it so that he could share it. That's the best kind of learning. Last but not least, and I would be remiss if I didn't, bring this to everybody's attention. Did everybody get woken up yesterday at 4:48 with this insane sound? Like, what the hell? So I say to people, bad behavior has consequences, and the dude that did that got fired. Thank you.
Well, like, my alarm goes off at 5, and that sound went off, and I went, "Oh, mother F, that's not my alarm." That's not right.
I was up, man, and it scared the living shit out of me. Anyway, without further ado, let's wake it up. Let's get to Gregg's walk-up music, and here we go. Wake up, everybody. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Wake up. Come on, come on. Wake up, everybody. Teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in there. No more about the thinking. Time of thinking ahead. Come on. If you can't,
I was just about to say, if you can't dance to that, you're a lost cause. You'll never find rhythm, and good luck.
Go away. Welcome, Double G, to your first.
Thank you.
Is this your first podcast ever?
It is. I've never been asked to be on a podcast.
This is unreal. We're fortunate enough to be the first.
And I'm honored to be on yours. So
it's awesome. So, as is customary with everything I do, and Zach Corliss will validate it, because we talked about the way to break into any conversation is, what's your story? Double G, tell us your story.
So my story is, I am a twin dad, not just a dad. I'm a twin dad to Evan and Miles, who just turned 9 years old, and we're celebrating their birthday this weekend. I am a husband to Margot, and I am also an entrepreneur, a marketing entrepreneur, and a community leader. So awesome. That's
well
exactly
said, well described.
Nice order in the way you did that too. I don't know if your wife would be happy with not being first, but definitely a nice order of importance, I think.
Just leave it to Jake to stir some shit.
just throwing it out
there. So I've met his wife. She's lovely. She's a super supporter. So when you and I met, you were not an entrepreneur.
That's correct.
So let's talk through that journey.
Yeah. So for 12 years, I had the pleasure of working with a great mentor. His name is Steve Fales, and worked for an ad agency, and loved every minute of it. Taught me a lot. And that's when I met Steve. I was looking for some coaching and some assistance to get better, 1% better every day. And that's exactly what happened. And then we know what happened in 2020. So the day before my 40th birthday, I was told that the company was going to get acquired. And so I went to that company for 5 months, 4.5 months too long. And hopefully nobody from that company is on that call. And literally that day when I left, I called Steve, and I called you, and I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. And literally the next day we talked through it. The next day I got a call from an old client, and she said, hey, would you be willing to help me with this project? And so from that, I really said to myself, you know what, I'm going to leverage these community relationships, these people in the community, and build on that and see what I can do to make a marketing consulting business. And that's the part I always loved. I always enjoyed, was being the consultant, being the strategist, being the sales guy to really build up a business. And so that's what I did. And I started EM Consulting Group, which EM being my kids' names, Evan and Miles. But also I've learned in business is that EM Consulting Group doesn't tell you what you do. And so what happens is I said, all right, well, we're going to change that to everything marketing. So it worked out well. So thanks to my boys for giving me the EM, but I just trademarked actually EM Consulting means that's EM marketing.
Love it, love it, love it. Jake, any questions before I keep going?
No, take it over and I'll kind of bounce off you.
Great. So you took the leap from working for somebody who I know Steve Fales for years, wonderful human, great mentor. So I'm sure working in that environment, you felt safe. Definitely. And I think some of the work I did with you guys, you know, I got that you were safe, but many of the people you worked with jumped out of the boat and started their own things. Mm-hmm. What was it like in the early stages? Because, you know, there were all these outside influences, and I always talk about live above your circumstances. You'd made the decision to do it, and then you got this in front of you. So take us back to the mindset of an early entrepreneur.
Yeah. So one of the things you had taught me was hope is not a strategy. And so because of that, I knew I had to put some kind of strategic plan in place, had to take things one at a time. I couldn't look to down the field, if I can use a football analogy, but if I look down to the 10-yard line, I can't even look there. I had to look at just getting the first down or getting the next couple of yards. And so every little step there was just progress towards the 10-yard line and the end zone at the end of the day. So.
I love it. So you and I started working together. We put some best practices together. What was the hardest thing that you had to overcome to sort of get the momentum going? I think I know what it was, having coached you, but I prefer you tell people, where was the real struggle for Double G?
The struggle was the fear. I had a ton of fear, a lack of self-confidence, because I didn't know if I could do it. I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. I never wanted to go out on my own. I always wanted that comfort of having a paycheck every week, every other week, and not having to worry that where my next dollar is coming from. And so people encourage me all the time, oh, you'd be a great entrepreneur, you'd be great at starting your own business. And I really just did not want to. But then when thinking about it further and what I could do from it, I knew that I could make a change. And more importantly too, Steve, I love the community. And I think that everybody knows that about me. And I know with the business, I'm able to give back to the community with the TT&T, time, talent, and treasure.
So let's unpack that for a second. It's always been a philosophy of mine to give first, and then the universe gives back. You are that human in bright living color. You've always done it without looking for anything in return because there was nothing to really return at that point.
Correct.
So give us the first time in your business career where you decided to give back and what it looked like, because I ultimately want to get to, and Nancy Stelway is here, friend, client, superhuman herself. You
Mentor
were Mentor of the Year. Man.
There you go, right behind you. I did that for the Take Stock fans. So
tell me about the first place and what that taught you and why it fed you to do more.
Yeah. So to be personal here, to open up, back in 2005, my brother passed away from a brain tumor. And so literally a month later, I started working volunteering as an advisor at BBYO, B'nai B'rith Youth Organization, to the group of 25, 30 young men in Weston who really were looking for Jewish community, fellowship, And so I was their big brother and they were my little brother. And so from that, I saw how much, if you give just a little bit, how much you get in return. And so from that, I just got so much love and so much heart. And from there, it just continued to grow. I mean, I've been involved in the community since I was in high school. I led the community service club in high school. So community has always been the forefront of my life.
And so I'll bounce in here because look, I mean, the comments are unreal. I don't know that we'll have another huddler in the hot seat where there's this outpouring of love for an individual.
That's all over the place, hearts, baby.
How do you balance, giving yourself to the community, giving yourself to your clients, giving yourself to your wife, giving yourself to your kids, because you're so open and give so much. So how do you balance it? How do you make sure there's enough time for you to make sure that you're showing up correctly? So what's your kind of philosophy, your time management tactic, whatever you kind of use?
So Jake, and your dad can attest to this. I am a constant lifelong learner. I am still learning time management. I've had conversations like with Joy Linsky about this recently, how I just wish I could schedule things in 15 minutes. But how I do it is honestly, routine. From the minute I wake up to the minute I go to bed, I know exactly what I have to do at what time, when I have to do it. I live by my calendar. And if something pops up from my calendar, I usually will say no to it because I live by that calendar. And if it's not on the calendar, it does not happen.
Where did you learn that?
Kind of threw an alley-oop to him right there, right?
Yeah, exactly. I've been, go ahead. No, I mean, Steve has been an incredible mentor. And I will tell you, last week when I posted that I got 3 proposals signed within 2 hours, my first call was not to an immediate family member. And I kid you not, it was to Steve Nudelberg. And so he's been a humongous part of my journey. And so I am ultra appreciative.
Humbled, but you were the student you needed to be. So, we call what we do goof proof. Fear of finding out, FOFO. Like when you found out, you struggled mightily with social media in the beginning. And I want to go down this road because the reason you had a coach wasn't that you couldn't do it on your own. It was uncomfortable, man.
Very.
You maybe more than most. You were like, I just don't feel good doing this. But the outcome is creating awareness. So put people, if you don't mind, and being open as you are and genuine as you are, talk about your social media journey, about how you went from obscurity to you are everywhere, mother.
Yeah. So a lot of lessons again from you and from the Nudelberg Daily Huddle, but just looking at your calendar and identifying one thing during the day that you can post about and posting about it. And the other side of it too, which was probably more important, is the fact that LinkedIn post only lives there for 24 to 48 hours. It's not like someone's going to come back to you in 3 months and be like, hey, why did you take a picture of at Wendy's during Mercury Week? And it's like, nobody cares, but just the fact of being the top of mind awareness is really what it's all about. And I try to convey that to my clients all the time. And this is, again, something else you taught. It's not business to business. It's not business to consumer. At the end of the day, it's H to H, human to human. And people just want to see who you are versus
Shay, give me a bang. Shay, give me a bang, man, please, man.
But
pulls up 3-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good.
Bang.
So, I mean, there are 1,000 marketing companies in South Florida alone, but it's really at the end of the day where you build the relationship. And so that relationship is something, I mean, and Steve Fales used to say this to me, you love the R word, and the R word is relationships. And so that's where you can create relationships. And you said this again, I'm going to repeat something you always say. It's not one-to-one, it's one-to-many. And so when you post your picture, you're not just having a one-to-one conversation, you're having a one-to-many. So
Randy Ostrow nails it. For someone who is doing their first podcast, you are an absolute natural.
Thanks, man.
I think right from the get-go, you give an aura of kindness, like you're a nice guy. You know, I'm not described as a nice guy. That's not the aura that I put out. You either love me or you hate me, and that's okay. What makes horse races. But I have a new question that I'm going to be asking every huddler in the hot seat, and I want to direct it to you first, because that's why we call it the hot seat. Would you sit next to yourself at dinner, and why?
Would I sit next to myself? Yeah, I would, because
First of all, if you said no, I'm ending the podcast now.
No, I would sit next to myself for the simple fact that my journey, my love for people, I just have a genuine love for people. And Jake, I'm thinking about your comment back after the Leadership Broward Fun Lunch, and he's like, he's the mayor, and that's exactly what I've been called 100 times. Because I just love people and I want to know more about them. It's not about me, it's about them. And so while I would love to sit next to me, I want to know more about who I am as the other person. So
that's the dime. Should somebody sit next to me? Yeah, because I make it about the other person, not about myself.
Always.
I think somebody that's in here, Glenn Schwartz, said he calls you Mr. South Florida. What a wonderful thing to do. And so nice job, Glenn.
He's taking over for Pitbull. We'll call him Mr. 954.
Mr. 954, exactly.
So Jeanette, this is a question that I've developed that allows people to share with me what makes them special. So
I'd love to get your thoughts, Gregg, on kind of how marketing has changed over the years. Obviously, sales and marketing plays a direct connection with each other, or we believe that. So kind of in your perspective and your expertise, how has marketing shifted kind of over the last few years? Where do you see it going? Anything that you can kind of talk on?
Absolutely.
And we'll go to overtime.
I appreciate that. So bang in overtime. I'll take
it. First, I look at you, man. Scoring points, baby.
There you go. So how marketing has changed. I mean, so there is no, I always say this now too. There is no thing as traditional, digital, and social media. Marketing goes well beyond the traditional digital and social media. I mean, you have to look at everything internally and externally when it comes to marketing. So a lot of times I deal a lot in the home services industries. And if Susie doesn't answer the phone correctly, that's part of marketing. And so I've seen the change from, we have to be in the newspaper every week. My first job out of college was at Zimmerman, and we used to run those newspaper ads like they were going out of style. Now, you don't really see newspaper ads as much. And now it's more about, again, it's that human to human aspect, and let's have lunches and connections and that kind of thing. And so that's where marketing has changed more on the relationship side than it has on the traditional digital and social media.
So I know Sarah just said like a 1,000,000% she agrees with you. So it's good to get two marketing perspective in one, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a great answer. From a marketer's perspective, and great direction, Jake. Your growth as an interviewer is astounding.
Well, it's when Mark's here, I just sit here with like my hands down because he doesn't stop speaking. I love him to death, but
Mark has shadow. But my final question to you is, how do you market yourself as a marketer?
I use LinkedIn, social media all the time. That people ask me like, so what do you do? And literally all I do is LinkedIn. I should do more marketing, but for myself, I depend on LinkedIn, and I depend on my community engagements for my marketing. Because again, it's not about EM Consulting Group, because again, there's 1,000 of them. It's about Gregg Goldstein and being Gregg Goldstein, building relationships one at a time with each individual uniquely. And that's really how I do my marketing.
I am so, I think Joy said it, you're making me proud that the work that I get to do when it shows up like this. I think as good a human as you were when I met you, I think you're a better human. I think you're a better marketer. And I think that there's more people that have access to you, which is the key to any marketing challenge, is awareness. So congratulations to you. Congratulations for knocking it out of the park today. And thank you for being our friend. We love you. And we are
and if there's anybody else out there that has a podcast, will somebody have Gregg on there? Because he's an awesome conversation.
And I just want you both to know the love is 1,000 times over to you guys. So thank you so much for everything.
The fact that you called me with that first call, I want you to know that, and Jake and Mark will validate this, I'm a crier. It's just, good things like that bring tears to my eyes.
We're watching Friday Night Lights. He cries every scene. It's unreal.
When I hung up from you, I was like, I'm not sure it gets any
There you go, Gregg.
So there's another invite, Michael Figaro, man. Man, look at you, baby.
Thank you, Mike.
Yes.
Thank you.
Listen, the best to you, the best to your family. Enjoy the birthday weekend, and thank you for being.
Thank you. I appreciate all the love out there as well. I'm glad I didn't get to see the comments because it would totally distracted me. So
thank you for being on the ball, brother.
You got it. Love you guys
Let's
so
get
much.
down to business. The grind includes
Have a great
Saturday.
weekend. We'll see you Monday. Let's
And
get
celebrate.
down to business.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down.